to Cheddar, everyone. Whistle Sports is a sports-focused platform made up of sports creators, athletes, leagues, and brands to create content for a new generation of fans. And here to talk to us about it and the strategy for growth and what is next for the company is Michael Cohen, the COO of Whistle Sports. Michael, it's great to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, you joined the company about 4 years ago. I'm sure it's changed since.
Sure.
What is that growth strategy as a COO, one of the executives leading the company?
Sure. I think what hasn't changed in 4 years. I can't imagine that 4 years ago we'd think that we were sitting here today live streaming, not relying on cable. So my job, the joy of my job, I get to come in every single day and think about how we adapt and thrive in this dynamic world where we're seeing seismic shifts in consumer consumption habits and the way content is created and consumed. So in short, we've evolved from what I'll call an MCN toddler into what is a global, social-first sports media company with multiple diversified revenue streams. So we started off building an audience, which is right now stands at 360 million fans and followers, doing about 1.4 billion views a month, generating 2 billion minutes of watch time. So a really massive audience where we're collecting tons and tons of information on them, and we're using that information to feed it to brands to help them grow into our community and get into the conversation. We got really good at owning the social feed and the content that we were creating there. So we said, hey, let's turn this internally and start creating our own original content, both on social platforms, but also on digital, OTT, and even linear. So we partnered with Verizon's Go90 early on, created a couple of content series for them that were fairly successful, have recently renewed with them, and now producing content across all different social, digital, and linear for the likes of traditional media players and even more progressive players.
Let's stay with the progressive media players for a moment here, because would you consider the bidding for these sports rights from the likes of Amazon, Facebook, Twitter, the list kind of going on and on right now, a dynamic environment? And then what impact does that have on your strategy?
Yeah. I think it's really exciting for us. We don't play in live. We look at the white space before and after the game. So we're able to create really compelling, relatable content, whereas a lot of the live sports is broadcasting directly to you. We see that the shifts in the consumer preferences are really about being involved in the conversation. So leaning in, commenting, liking, sharing. But we think it's great seeing Amazon and Facebook really leaning in to live rights. It creates more competition and continues to push people to innovate even further in terms of what does sports mean, what does sports entertainment mean.
How do you prioritize digital, linear, and social media? Yeah,
so we were born on social. So we were born on YouTube as an MCN, similar to a Maker, a Full Screen, or a Tastemade, but for sports. That was never our strategy. It was always the vehicle, not the destination, right? And so what it did was allow for a really massive audience, which we grew outside of YouTube into broader social, Facebook, Snapchat, Vine, RIP. But it allowed us to really expand in social. And so from the data that we learned from the two-way conversations, we were able to start making more informed decisions on how to create content for digital, for OTT, and even linear to really engage what we're calling today's generation, which is really this 13 to 34 bucket of folks.
All right, well, you guys have raised more than $80 million across 5 rounds of funding, most recently from NBC Sports Ventures. How exactly are you guys using that capital to create this more multi-channel network approach?
Yeah, NBC is a great partner and certainly progressive with a lot of their investments. How we're working with NBC is in particular is two ways. One, brands today want to be across platforms, social, digital, and linear. So NBC has a really great digital linear presence. Social is where we can continue to we can combine with them and help them win, and same for us, they can help us win. At the same time, they have a challenge of continuing to reach and engage a younger demographic. And so Whistle Sports can step in and help them create really compelling content and do interesting things around the programming they're already doing and help them create new programming. So in terms of where we're going to use our investment dollars, it's more of accelerating our growth on original content and investing in the Whistle Sports brand.
So it sounds like a lot of these, maybe, or at least some of them, maybe some of the more recent investments are strategic partnerships, right? So you give a little and you get a little as well.
Correct. Yeah, the strategic partner, I mean, we used to think that it's us versus them very early on. That was wrong. It's the world is bigger. It's not a zero-sum game. We think TV is going to exist for a long time, but we think that we can help a lot of these traditional media folks that are struggling today with live viewership and consumer changes. We can help them win in this new environment.
And then when you think of Snap and when you think of Facebook, right, I think a lot of people just instantly think social media, right? But then the offerings that we're going to be seeing here that's been reported on in the media from Snap, on Snapchat, from Facebook as well, moving into original programming. I mean, there are potentially money-making opportunities in there that might be classified as more digital versus social media. For instance, if you do original series for Facebook, or if you do some sort of original content dedicated specifically to Snap. And so how do you look at that? How does that fit into your growth strategy?
Yeah, that's a huge part of our growth strategy. Building up our, what I'll call street credit on social with our social shorts has helped us get into the original content game. So Facebook now is focused on intentional long form viewing, right, versus coming up in your feed. And we're really excited for partnerships with Facebook. They've got some really brilliant leaders sitting in that company that are thinking ahead, and they've continued to push the industry in terms of video consumption. And I think Snapchat, same type of story there. So we're working with both of those companies on exactly what you said, getting into more of that original content game.
Well, some of the brands that you guys have worked with, brands like Nike, Pepsi, Under Armour, just to name a few, you guys create these, what I think your CEO, John Westall, told the Huffington Post was these authentic experiences. Explain exactly what that authentic experience is.
Yeah, so part of our view was to build a progressive or a new breed of sports media company, you have to do it with the audience today. And that's the 360 million fans and followers we have globally. And so to be able to build this sports network with them means they already have audiences that they're talking to. And so for us, it's about naturally putting ourselves into the conversation. So for a brand like Nike, let's take basketball for example, we work with our basketball vertical who's already predisposed to love basketball content, and we just seamlessly work with Nike to have certain people create great content around what Nike's brand objective might be, whether it's releasing a Kyrie Irving shoe or something else. And then we have other folks that distribute their content to the audience. But we're naturally what we call owning the social feed for Nike.
What is it like working with Facebook and Snapchat in terms of developing some of these series or some of this content that you said is in the works right now and that these conversations are happening? Are they sort of driving exactly what they want from you on the platform, or are they giving you more liberty to build what you want?
Yeah, I think it's becoming more collaborative. At first, I think they were trying to figure out what exactly worked on these platforms, and now the best results are when we can collaborate with great partners. So Facebook and Snapchat, both great partners that want to collaborate on the series. They have development teams that are coming in. You're seeing it at the likes of Amazon and Netflix and beyond. So real development teams, real content and production experience that are very committed to working with us to create great content.
Michael Cohen, this is perhaps an easy one for you. Do you think that the viewership attention span for live sports will ever completely go away? You hear so much complaining when it comes to, I mean, a 3.5 hour most of the time football game, not including the several overtimes in basketball and hockey. I mean, people just aren't interested in staying that connected for that long.
Yeah, look, I think live will always play a role, and sports continues to be the last bastion of media. It will evolve. It will change. The way that we consume a 3-hour game will change. It'll shift to our phones. It'll shift to different devices. The way that it's broadcast to us or the way that we're participating in it will continue to evolve.
All right, Michael Cohen, COO of Whistle Sports, thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much.
It is time to say goodbye to our Twitter friends, but there's still a lot more show left, Chet Hedge. You can watch it on Sling, Pluto TV.